Hello and welcome to the very first edition of my video series reviewing albums. This one specifically will be a classic album, the 1984 debut record of the band Sade. Now, as you can tell by my shirt, I am somewhat of a fan of the band Sade. It's funny because I only recently started listening to them around last year. My roommates at the time, shout out to Fern and Brittany. Shout out to Brittany for actually recommending this album Diamond Life to be the first one that I review. They started listening to them a lot, and through that I started listening to them, and to be completely honest with you, I always would mess up the pronunciation. I would see the name Sade, and of course I would always say like Sade and never Sade. But I heard the name Sade growing up, and I heard the name Sade referenced in like movies. Shaun of the Dead, I think, references it, and like plenty of rappers have sampled her music. So, including the late great MF Doom. The majority of the songs on this album are written by Sade Adu and Stuart Matthewman. I think that's correct. Yeah, Stuart Matthewman, who is the saxophonist and the guitarist for the band. With the exception of one song being the last song, which is a cover, which I'll get into later. And yeah, let's get into it. So I've heard this album before, plenty of times. Last year is their debut, so I don't know if most people are like this, but I like to go, once I find something that I'm into, I usually go from start to end and kind of catch up, whether it be albums or movies from a director that I like. So yeah, with this being the first one, I really enjoyed this album. Totally. I just feel like this gonna sound like I'm crapping on albums today, but every song on here feels so full. Every song on here feels so complete. It just feels like a complete song. I think the shortest song on here is like 3 minutes and a half, which is probably like the average amount of like the length of a song for like songs today. But yeah, every song's like 4 minutes, 5 minutes. It's complete. It lets you go through the chorus like a couple of times. It just sounds so complete. It just sounds so like finished. And I couldn't tell you what they could have added. You know what I mean? I couldn't add anything if I wanted to. I couldn't even think of anything to add to the album that I would want. I just feel like it's very complete. Probably my favorite album of theirs, to be honest with you. This one, or maybe I'm trying to think of the album that has Is It a Crime? Is it a crime? Yeah, between Diamond Life and Promise are probably like my favorite Sade albums. I do also want to point out that it's only 9 songs, 45 minutes, easy listen. There's not a song I'd skip. There's not a song that like drags on too long. Like I said, I feel like they're very complete and also very just well produced. The clarity of it all seems cool, and it makes me want to go back to that time of 1984. Or like the early 90s, this kind of like early roots of like neo soul. And I don't know if I could like hear that in a club or hear that at a bar or something like that, where I'm sure there's bars that play the music today, but the aesthetics of back then are really felt on this album. Okay, so we'll go track by track on each song, talk a little bit about it. First track, Smooth Operator. On my notes I wrote down that the lyrics are about a future type man who goes from woman to woman, just kind of charming them, not having long relations with them, just kind of like, you know, I want to say hitting and quitting it, but you know what I'm saying? Like just kind of hooking up with them a little bit and then kind of like ghosting them and just leaving them and then feeling the heartbreak. There's a lot of themes of that in the album. There's a lot of like infidelity themes in the album, and also the emotional repercussions for that, whether you're being the one that's cheated on or the one doing the cheating. Instrumentally, the song is so jazzy. The saxophonist just kills it at the end. Like towards the end, he just like murders it with this, I wouldn't say a solo, but definitely like has his, oh man, he just has his ability to like really jazz it up, to be honest with you. And her vocals are so nice, dude. They're so clear. They're so crisp. That's what I like about old music, is when it can stand the test of time. And this, to me, stands the test of time. It's really well done, and you could tell that like the production and I want to say the production and musically, but also like it's a whole package. Like I mentioned earlier, all these songs just feel so complete. They just feel whole. I feel like a lot of the album just feels whole, and there's nothing missing there. You know what I mean? But yeah, Sade is basically telling the listener, whether it be a woman, I mean, the song's about women, really, like for them to steer clear of men like this and kind of avoid them at all costs, that they do more harm than they do good. Yeah, lyrically, it's a solid track. Paints a real well picture of everything that's going on, everything that the person that she's singing about is doing and saying to these women and kind of charming them. The next song is Your Love Is King, and it details the artist, I want to say Sade. It details her kind of completeness and infatuation with, I want to say the idea of love, of being in love, and just being so romantically inclined to your partner. Enamored. Enamored is the word I was looking for. Yeah, she's just really enamored on this song. You know what I mean? It's such a smooth and like really, really nice listen on your ears. Her choruses, bro, their choruses just feel so effortless. You know what I mean? Like as soon as they come up, you're like, of course, that's what would be the chorus. You know what I mean? Of course, that would be like the lyrics of the chorus and how it would flow into it. Just really well done. Like I said, yeah, the song's mainly about being in love. I think we've all felt that. You know what I mean? We all feel the passion. People call it the honeymoon phase or whatever, but when you're just like really attached to your partner and you see them every day, you don't want to be away from them. It's all you think about. And if you haven't felt that, damn, I hope you do one day, because it's a really good feeling. And it's so interesting that in the beginning, it's like, I don't know if there's like an overall like theme or overall like concept. I don't know if it's a concept album, although certain songs do have like, you know, are more descriptive than others. But the fact that this is right after Smooth Operator is so funny to me. The fact that she has one song where she's kind of like warning people like, yo, don't like fall for this. Don't fall for like a man's tricks. And then the second one is being like very in love with her partner. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't think there's a concept I'm going over here, but it's really interesting placement on the album. The next song though, Hang On To Your Love, by far my favorite track. I love it. I loved it when I first listened to it. It's one of the reasons why I started like listening to Sade. Just so well done, man. Just such a unique track. I don't know another song that sounds like it. And honestly, bro, I'm gonna say this because I told friends of this before, but like certain vocals from her remind me of Freddie Mercury. I don't know if I'm completely out of my mind. I don't know if like I'm just hearing things, but or maybe it's like the accent or whatever, but I don't know. There's parts where it's just like, it reminds me of certain Queen songs. I don't know. I could be out of my mind, to be honest with you, but that song is really, really nice. Shout out to Larry June, who sampled it on Tracy, California. Yeah, I mean, to dive into the lyrics a little bit more, the song is mainly about, you know, making sure that you know love is precious, that it's fleeting. You know what I mean? It could definitely go away at any moment. Hold on to it tight. You know, lyrics like that. There's also something she does in like the other songs after this, where she kind of like questions the listener, not questions the listener, but questions the person she's writing about, where it's like, in heaven's name, why are you walking away? There's always these like questions in her music to almost ask, like, not pleading, I want to say, but definitely like that she did not expect, like, you know, for the relationship to end. And when it does, it's like, and I feel like a lot of breakups are like that. You don't really see it coming. Hindsight's always 20/20, but like when a breakup occurs, it just kind of, you know, if you're on the receiving end of it, it blindsides you a little bit, or it can, you know what I mean? And what you think you knew, or what you think you know, you don't really know. You know what I mean? Like you think you know something and then you don't know about it. It's kind of how I took it, you know what I mean? Which I think she probably just felt blindsided whenever the person's like talking about ending the relationship. Like I said, my favorite song by far, musically, instrumentally, it's so nice. It's just a really nice listen. Nice, like, driving in your car listen, to be honest with you. Next song is Frankie's First Affair, which at first I assumed, you know, before diving into the lyrics, I assumed that it was about Frankie cheating on somebody, but it's about Frankie getting cheated on, which is interesting to me. I totally would, like, that just went over my head the first time I listened to it, or the times that I've listened to it before. Yeah, I feel like Frankie's First Affair pairs well with Smooth Operator. And that the first song, she's kind of warning, you know, woman of this man. And then the second one, or not the second one, but Frankie's First Affair, she kind of like tells you like, I told you so. You know what I mean? Basically kind of like telling the listener that I told you so, that like you play with fire, you'll get burnt, in terms of, you know, men who aren't loyal, or whoever's partner is not loyal, male or female. And then some of these lyrics is your turn to cry. It's a crying shame, heartbreaker. You know that they didn't care. Oh, sorry about that. You know now they really did care because it's your first affair. Damn. Just crazy. Like, it's just, those lyrics are something else. And also Sade does this awesome job of like pleading with the listener, but also like elevating her vocals at the same time. You know, like kind of like asking a question, but then like her vocals will just like kind of like raise up a little bit and just feels real like epic, real full. So the next song is When Am I Gonna Make a Living? It's the shortest song on the album. Definitely the most direct song as well. It's talking about being a creative person or an artist and having to make ends meet, which I always find that kind of like dichotomy interesting, in that like, you know, you have a person who's really creative, but at the same time they need to like, you know, I'd like to consider myself a creative person, and I need to, you know, I have a regular 9-to-5 job that I work to make ends meet. You know, I got to pay these bills. And it is unfortunate because it could take time away from you and kind of, I don't want to say beat you down, but it kind of like definitely lessens, you know, after a long day of work, you know, do you really want to like, you know, click the camera on? Do you really want to paint that picture? Do you really want to, you know, sometimes you just want to decompress after work. It can kind of get you in that pattern of like, you know, just making it through the day and kind of like looking forward to like not being at work, and just chilling rather than like using that time to, you know, be creative. Next song is Cherry Pie. It's the longest song on the album. And it's basically about a breakup, honestly, you know, it's basically about a breakup. I'm curious if these lyrics, I was reading the lyrics earlier on this website, and she's just trying to make sense, you know, she's trying to make, you know, trying to find meaning in the breakup, trying to find reason, you know, for the person to break up with her. And I'm curious if it's like cherry pie. It just sounds so like such an interesting dessert. You know what I mean? Like such an interesting dessert for her to use. I'm curious if like it was a relationship she had with like maybe an American boy. You know what I mean? Because us Americans love pie for whatever reason. It just seems like a reoccurring thing. American pie, cherry pie, pecan pie, literally any other pie, pumpkin pie. Starting to get hungry. Let's move on. You know, it's the longest song on the album, but it definitely doesn't feel that way. You know, it's so funky. It's so, I won't say upbeat, but sonically it's a little like more up. And it just flies by. I listened to the album earlier with headphones, which I highly recommend for sure. I mean, it sounds beautiful, like, you know, on a speaker or on vinyl. But with headphones, it really sounds like really, really intimate. I have these noise canceling Beats that I bought earlier this year that just made it sound so much like, so much clearer and like just nice, bro. But yeah, another breakup album, or another breakup record rather. You know, where were you just when I needed you? Gotta find out what I meant to you. Kind of asking all these questions that you have usually after a breakup, you know what I mean? Like questioning yourself and questioning the relationship of like, what exactly were we? You know what I'm saying? What was all that time we spent together? You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people ask that, and she kind of just put all that in lyric form and song form, and it came out really, really well. So the next song is really interesting. It's called Sally. It's about this woman who takes care of, I don't know, I looked at the description earlier. It says they were taking care of like, and what word was that they used? It's like not well troubled. Sally's a song about a woman who takes care of troubled young men in New York. And I think this song specifically is her most descriptive. Oof. Hopefully I didn't mess up the sound. Is her most descriptive on the album. She just paints such a good picture of New York and all these men. She mentions drug use a little bit. She mentions the needle, you know what I mean? Drug use. Definitely most descriptive song on the album. She just paints such a well picture. I almost want to know if there's like a music video. I haven't even looked if there's a music video about this song or a short film. I would love to like make one about this, because she really paints a really, really nice picture of like everything that this lady goes through, helping these people. Just that she's really reliable amongst these men. They could always depend on her, this and that. She's like selfless in a way, you know what I mean? She kind of like helps them out and like kind of picks them up when they're down. I think everyone needs a Sally in their life. It definitely could change your life for the better. Okay, so the second to last song is I Will Be Your Friend. Basically tells the story of, you know, I'm curious about this one because I don't know if it's about former lovers in a way, or former like people that were in a relationship. Because she kind of like, you know, the lyrics suggest that she's talking about someone that she cared a lot about, you know, but it never really says if they were like romantically involved, you know. I'm curious if that was the case. But the lyrics read that she just is always there for this person, kind of like the Sally one, but this one's more direct and specific, that she's like always there for this person specifically, and definitely always someone you could rely on, the good times, the bad times, that she's always someone you could call up. I'm here to wipe away the tears. You got so much to give. I'll tell you just when you need to know. Get out and live. Pick you up when you're feeling low. So here's my hand. Trust in me. I really am true. A pick me up, you know what I mean? Definitely a pick me up song. And I think a lot of friends need that, you know, when they're down. It's kind of like, that's why I'm curious if it was like a song about people who were romantically involved, or just a song about friendship, you know what I mean? Because I have plenty of friends who have helped me when I was down, and when they were down, I helped them, and we're just even hanging out together could like get your mind off of things, you know what I mean? So I'm curious if that's the case, or I'm curious if it's more about, you know, two former lovers who still have contact. Yeah, I need to look more into that. I'm curious like what the definition of the song was. There's actually this website I want to shout out real quick that helped me get more clarity into some of these lyrics. Songtell.com. They have like these paragraphs of describing these songs. I'm not sure how many other albums they did this for, but they really came in clutch when it came to giving me this kind of clarity. Because, you know, the music's so good sonically that you could get like, or instrumentally, that you could get lost in it and like not really like, you know, not really pay attention to the lyrics as much just because it sounds so good. But them, you know, putting those paragraphs out, I'm not sure who they're by because it just seems kind of anonymous, but I really, really appreciate it. Shout out to songtell.com. Okay, so we're on the last track, Why Can't We Live Together? It's the only song on the album that isn't written by Sade and Matthew Man. It's actually a cover of an old song by Timmy Thomas, I think. Let me see that name real quick. Yeah, Timmy Thomas. And it's a cover of I think the song came out in 1972. Yeah, 1972 song by Timmy Thomas. I also want to bring up that, like, man, it's like 2 minutes before Sade even opens her mouth, but you're just kind of like drenched in this, like, in the instrumental of the song, you know what I mean? And like 2 minutes pass, you know, pretty quick. Then Sade comes in with her fucking beautiful voice, and it's just, you melt away, really. Funny thing about this Timmy Thomas song is that I heard it after the fact because I didn't know it was a cover. And the beginning of it sounds like Hotline Bling by Drake. Actually, one of the like top comments on the YouTube video that I saw was, I know where Drake got Hotline Bling from. Because it literally, like, it starts off super similar. I don't know if I can put the audio in here because I don't want to get copyrighted. But if you listen to that, you could definitely hear the, I don't know if he sampled it. I'm curious what he did with that, if he like included it at all. But it's a fact that I thought would be interesting to the listeners. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the album. Like I said, overall, I feel weird rating art, like, you know, 10 out of 10, stuff like that. I'd rather just have a discussion on it. But it's definitely solid. I highly recommend listening to it. You know, I feel like it's been a pretty positive review. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys hanging in there with me and my rambling. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. Comment down below what your favorite song was. Comment down below what I should review next in terms of music. I have kind of a list that I did on Instagram of recommendations that people send in to me, so I might go off of that. I know that Drake is dropping soon, so I'll probably review the Drake album. It's a big album. Or I think The Alchemist might be dropping some with Earl Sweatshirt, which I should be very interested in that. You know what I mean? I'm really interested in seeing how that comes out. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to definitely have these classic album reviews separate from the regular album reviews. But on Monday is usually when I'll be dropping these. So like I said, appreciate you guys so much. If you like this video, please subscribe, comment down below, leave a like, the usual business. Turn on the little bell if you don't see my videos for whatever reason. That's gonna do it for today's video. Appreciate the time as always. Thank you and